right, guys. Questions for Jack.
Jack, you had a really impressive drive there at the end, in the fourth, but it takes 7 minutes. Were you kind of wondering why that wasn't sped up a little bit, or there wasn't more of a sense of urgency there?
When you're in the thick of it, you're not really like looking at the time or really thinking about that. I think with that drive, I guess it didn't really matter how much time it took, but we needed to finish with something, and finishing with that touchdown was something that we were, proud of ourselves. We didn't just lay down in the second half and say, "Oh, we're down 28. There's no shot." So I was really, really happy with the offense, and it was good we got a touchdown.
What does it take to replicate that more consistently, though, as we go forward?
You just got to see the on film. You just got to see the differences of, what you did well in those drives when you got touchdowns as compared to those when we got stalled out at midfield and stuff like that. Then you just got to fix them in practice.
What are some of your emotions just following the loss like tonight?
It's tough. We were really looking forward to this game. Colorado's got a great program. It was an awesome crowd out there, and we were fully expecting to come in here and come out with a victory. And it didn't go our way tonight. It's tough. No matter who you play, it sucks to lose. But there's a lot of great things on this tape that we can learn from, but also things that we can be proud of ourselves. So that's kind of what I'm taking away from this game.
Jack, obviously, Nate got hurt tonight, but Jay said that he's already had some question marks at that left tackle position. You have your finger on this offensive line. What are your thoughts about the left tackle spot? Are you concerned at all?
I'm not concerned. What my number one concern is, Nate Geiger right now. I feel terrible for the kid. This was him being a Colorado kid, this was a really special game for him. And everyone on our team that's from Colorado. So my concern is about his health. I'm just hoping for the best for him. We'll just see what the what the results are of whatever we got to do, and then we'll just move forward from there.
Jack, any thoughts on how your team can get started offensively a little bit faster?
Kind of what I said earlier. I think see what we did well. Once we got into the flow of the game, and kind of hone in on those things and see how can we start from the jump. Moving that well, and get plays going from the jump as opposed to the start of the third quarter. And I think just watch the tape and replicate that in practice.
What can seeing defenses like Utah and Colorado back-to-back weeks? What's that going to kind of do for you guys as you get ready to go into this bye and then go into Mountain West play?
It's awesome. When you get to we joined the Big 12 for 2 weeks, and we played some really great teams, and those games are going to do nothing but make you better. As long as you're fighting and you're playing your ass off, I think there's some really good things you can take away from that tape going into conference play. It was a grueling 2 weeks. We were definitely appreciative of these 2 weeks. It's always an appreciative thing when you get to play really good programs, especially from the Big 12. So just learn from the film and then get ready for conference play.
Back to back, what kind of lessons have you guys learned? Especially like last weekend, what have you guys learned that's going to help you as you lead into conference play?
I think we definitely got to get going faster. We did some really great things offensively, but I think it might have been a little bit too late. I think that's for both games is the number one thing we got to learn offensively, and those are just take some things off the tape and get that corrected for conference.
10-point game, 4 minutes left. What does that maybe say about your guys' ability to stay in this game?
Exactly. We fought to the end, and that's there's a lot of teams when they go down 28-3 that it could turn into 42-3 quick. And we just stayed the course, kept fighting, and that's at the end of the day, when you're in that situation, that's what matters most. So you're going to keep fighting, fight to win. So us putting on some touchdowns on the scoreboard and getting it close. That was I was proud of my teammates, and I was happy for us to do something like that.
Jack, your team's starting fast each game, no huddle. Are you seeing things from the defense that seems to show that that's working for you guys, or what's your thoughts on just this fast tempo?
I think, sometimes they're not ready for it, maybe so early, and that's what, helps us be successful. If we do it from the jump and the defense isn't expecting it, that's, all power to us. And that's, if we can get fast, if we can keep going fast and they're not able to adjust to something like that kind of tempo, then, we're gonna use that to our advantage as best as we can.
Do you feel like that? I know you blocked the field goal afterward, but do you feel like that safety was kind of like a turning point in this game?
Possibly. Obviously it wasn't great. We're definitely in a tough situation offensively. I probably wouldn't say it was a turning point. Because as a team, we're always like, no matter what happens, don't flinch. We got to move forward, get ready for the next series. So I wouldn't say it was a turning point. We just got to move on from it.
That's good.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.